The night he didn't come home again, I sat in the living room with the porch light glowing like a small hope I refused to turn off. But the truth is, I hadn't been waiting for him in a long time. I'd been waiting for the woman I used to be. The woman who once believed that marriage, once rooted, could survive any storm. The woman who believed that loyalty was contagious, and that if she loved hard enough she could keep a family from falling apart. I stared at that porch light, the way a drowning person stares at shore, with a kind of helpless hope. A hope that felt more like habit than faith. At 2:17 a.m. his phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. The phone he never forgot, until the night he most needed to. I remember the sound so vividly because it felt like a door slamming inside my chest. I walked toward the counter slowly, as if getting closer to the phone meant getting closer to a truth I wasn't ready to hold in my hands. A name flashed on the screen. A woman's name. Not a coworker, not a client. Not anyone who should be texting a married man at 2:17 a.m. And the message said, "Are you still coming back tonight?" My hands went cold, but my heart didn't shatter. It just sank, as if it had known this truth long before my mind would dare to accept it. Because betrayal doesn't always explode. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in small inconsistencies. Sometimes it leaves clues you pretend you don't see, because acknowledging them would mean acknowledging the unraveling of your life. And that was the night I finally admitted something I had been terrified to say out loud. I wasn't losing my husband. I had already lost him. And maybe I had been losing myself too, one compromise, one silent night, one apology for no reason at a time. Hi, and welcome back to Middle Life Moments. If you've ever sat awake pretending you weren't watching the clock while wondering why someone you love no longer comes home to you, you're not alone. There's a particular kind of loneliness only lonely long-married women understand. The loneliness of sharing a home, but no longer sharing a life. The loneliness of being needed, but no longer wanted. The loneliness of feeling invisible, in the very place you once felt safest. Tonight I want to tell you the story of the night everything broke, and the night I stopped lying to myself. But more importantly, I want to tell you what happened before that night. Because heartbreak rarely begins on the night we finally name it. It begins much earlier. In the quiet moments we brush aside, in the truths we avoid, in the smiles we force so no one asks if we're okay. If you've ever felt that kind of quiet ache, this story may feel painfully familiar. And I hope you find a piece of your own truth in mine. We'd been married 31 years, and people always told us we were solid. They saw the matching holiday photos, the joint Facebook posts, the anniversary dinners we attended, even when we hadn't spoken all day. They saw consistency, they saw stability, but they never saw the silence behind closed doors. Nobody notices when a woman starts lowering her voice, minimizing her needs, shrinking herself just to keep the peace. You don't see it happening day by day. You don't wake up and think, I'll give up a little more of myself today. It just happens. Until one day you realize you've become a supporting character in a life you used to star in. Quiet cracks had been forming for years. Missed anniversaries, work trips that didn't match the calendar, business dinners that lasted far too long, conversations that felt like voicemail messages. Me talking, him nodding, but neither of us really connecting. He started sleeping in the guest room because of his back. But his back never hurt on the weekends he didn't come home early. He stopped touching me in the kitchen. He stopped saying goodnight. He stopped noticing that I had stopped asking him to. There were nights I would hear the garage door open and feel a wave of relief so strong I almost cried because it meant he had chosen to come home that night. And then guilt would swallow me. Guilt for wanting such a basic thing. Here's the confession I never wanted to make. I stayed because I was afraid that if he didn't love me anymore, maybe no one ever would. Women don't talk about that fear, but we should. Because staying in a dying marriage is not always about love. Sometimes it's about survival. Sometimes it's about identity. Sometimes it's about not knowing who you are without the person who slowly stopped choosing you. There were mornings I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep, but the kind you get when you've been carrying someone else's happiness far too long. He said he'd be home by 9, then 10, then nothing. By midnight, I was wide awake, not with anger, but with the kind of dread that settles into your bones when you already know the answer but need proof to stop lying to yourself. At 1:30 I called him. Straight to voicemail. At 2:17, his forgotten phone buzzed. That name, that message. And then, a preview of something far worse. Last night felt different. I miss you. It wasn't the message that broke me. It was realizing how quickly my mind filled in the details because deep down, I already knew them. I slid down the kitchen cabinet sitting on the cold tile floor with his phone glowing in my lap, and it hit me. I had been loyal to a memory. He had been loyal to someone else. Memories flashed. The early years when he'd pick flowers from our yard and leave them on the counter for me. The years our daughter was little, and he'd fall asleep on the couch with her curled on his chest. The vacations we planned, the dreams we built, and then, the years those things stopped happening, and I kept pretending I wasn't noticing. I looked at my reflection in the dark window and saw a woman who had been apologizing for her own loneliness for far too many years. He walked in at 6:42 a.m. smelling like cologne. I didn't wear with a softness in his eyes that wasn't meant for me. His wedding ring wasn't on his hand, it was in his pocket, like he removed it to live a different life and put it back on to return to this one. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't shake. Because heartbreak doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with clarity. I simply said, "She texted you." His shoulders dropped as if the weight of pretending had finally become heavier than the weight of telling the truth. He didn't deny it. He didn't defend himself. He didn't even look surprised. He just whispered, "I didn't think you'd ever see it." And here is the confession I have never said publicly. When he said that, a part of me felt relief. Not because he betrayed me, but because I finally had proof that the emptiness between us wasn't my fault. For years I thought I was the reason he stopped loving me, but the truth was he had already chosen someone else, long before I learned how to see it. He said he didn't mean to fall for her. As if accidents have hotel receipts. As if love slips off your wedding ring and places it neatly in your pocket. I looked at him and for the first time didn't feel the familiar ache of wanting him back. I felt something colder. Clarity. And clarity is painful, but liberating. We signed the papers in early spring. No screaming, no begging, no dramatic storm of emotions. Just the quiet end of a life I tried too hard to save alone. The lawyer handed us pens, and I watched his hand move across the page, steady, controlled, unshaken. The same hands that used to pull me close, now ended our marriage with the same calmness he used to sign grocery checks. The hardest part wasn't losing him. It was realizing I had lost myself somewhere in the years I spent trying to be easy to love. After the divorce, people told me how strong I was. But strength is a strange word when your heart still aches in places no one can see. I still sleep with the porch light on sometimes. Not because I'm waiting for him, but because old habits don't disappear, just because the person who created them does. Some endings aren't loud or violent or sudden. Some endings are the slow unraveling of a woman who deserved honesty long before she got it. The real heartbreak is realizing you were the only one still fighting for something that had already died. For months, I found pieces of our life everywhere. A sweater he left in the closet, a restaurant receipt from our anniversary years ago, a voicemail of him laughing from a time when we didn't know our future was dissolving. Sometimes healing isn't about forgetting. Sometimes it's about remembering without breaking. If any part of this story feels familiar, please know this. You are not broken for hoping too long or holding on too tight. You are not foolish for believing in the vows you made. You are not weak for choosing love even when it stopped choosing you. Women over 40, over 50, over 60 are told to be grateful, to keep the peace, to not expect too much. But hearts still break at every age. And healing doesn't come from pretending you're fine. It comes from telling the truth, even when it shakes your voice. If you've lived through something similar, your story is welcome here. Someone listening tonight might need to know they're not the only one who stayed longer than they should have. Thank you for being here, and I hope you come back to Middle Life Moments, a quiet place for the truths we carry long after the world stops asking.